So today we're headed out to Pella for the next entry in the Family Leaders Presidential Lecture Series. And up this month is Texas Congressman Ron Paul, who looks to be making his second bid for the presidency. Had a respectful and ornery showing in the 2008 Iowa caucuses. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ron Paul fits in with this crowd here, with the family leader out in Pella today, and the other two stops they're going to be making as well. Because Ron Paul really represents sort of an unconventional candidate, if you will, for the kinds of voters that a group like the family leader typically represents. He's more of a libertarian than a classic Christian conservative. His stances on things like national defense are antithetical to a lot of the sorts of conservatives that'll be in the rooms he'll be in today. And he's also got some really unorthodox approaches to pro-family legislation and also his purported Christian morality. In the past, Ron Paul has said he doesn't believe homosexuality is a sin. He voted to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell a month ago in the United States Congress. However, he's also been staunchly pro-life, at least theoretically, and Jane Roe herself endorsed him for president back in 2008. He's also put forth a bill every year in the United States Congress that would essentially end abortion and define life at conception. On the other hand, Ron Paul has also opposed a federal marriage amendment. He's also opposed a human life amendment. He believes that issues of marriage and life ought to be determined at the state level. And that has drawn the ire of many Christian conservatives. So it'll be very interesting to see how Ron Paul fits in to the paradigm put forth by groups like the Family Leader. On one hand, he violates at least in terms of his methodology, if not his outright morality, some of their non-negotiables. On the other hand, a case could be made that if you're looking for a threat to the system, Ron Paul represents the biggest threat to the system of all the so-called or alleged Republican presidential candidates. Because the one thing I think Ron Paul's made pretty clear, if given the chance, he will end the welfare state. And a lot of the evil that people like you and I, if you agree with me, are fed up with in this culture and in this society wouldn't exist if the government, see that as you and I, the taxpayers, weren't cutting the check, subsidizing it to make it possible in the first place. Which is why Ron Paul is not just a very divisive figure within the Republican Party, but also amongst Christian conservatives that groups like the Family Leaders represent. Because on one hand, he's a great threat to the system with his economic beliefs. On the other hand, he capitulates to the system at times with his foreign policy and his social issue beliefs. So seeing where he fits in right in the middle of those two juxtapositions will be very interesting when we head out to Pella today. We're going to have all the coverage and information on this event, and I'll have my own analysis of what Ron Paul had to say today later on right here at stevedeace.com.